Hi, welcome to Two Italian Women
and the stories they tell
with Erica Martin
and Diane Bovolino.
And
Rini York is with us today,
our special guest star, and we would love to hear more about you. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about your business, your background, and I know we're here to talk maybe a little bit about manifestation today as a follow-up to our last video.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I am an acupuncturist, astrologist, and spiritual coach. I really love helping entrepreneurial light workers to release their blocks, to reclaim their intuition and reignite their power so that they can realize their dreams, right? So I do that through an astrology-based membership, through one-on-one readings, Voxer coaching, and my signature 3-month deep dive to really realize your dreams. So thank you again so much for letting me be here and join in this wonderful conversation.
Thank you. Like, you are such a wealth of information and like such a depth of the work that you do. May I ask, how long have you been in the field doing this kind of work?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends which field you're talking about.
Good point. Maybe the evolution.
Yeah, totally. I feel like, I've been healing for 20 years plus, and astrology for I've been doing that since I was a kid. So like 32 years. I've really been on a spiritual journey my entire life, and I've been on a quest to find miraculous healing. So that took me to energy healing, everything metaphysical. Also went to for social work and, we
have that in common.
Yeah, exactly. So I did counseling and ended up with acupuncture and body work. And now I really bring things together. I've created like this multidisciplinary approach to healing, to really connecting into your own spirit so you can live your life purpose the way that you want. So
that's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I aspire to be her. Do you aspire to be her?
I'm working with her. I've been working with Rini for, I think, a couple months now, and it's been fabulous.
Awesome.
Yes.
How did the two of you get connected?
We got connected actually through my yoga instructor, Katie Bach, and as we know, she's helped us pull this, podcast together.
Oh, and then Bridget, of course. And so we've got our Good Vibe tribe that just kind of somehow brings us all together. Aren't we lucky?
I love that. And I love Katie. She and I have, I've known her for a little over a year now, year and a half, and she's amazing. So
isn't it great when you get wonderful women?
Yes.
Who are all intentional in the work that they do and wanting to just make the world a better place, bring that light into other people's lives. I mean, it's the most rewarding work I think any of us could ever do.
I agree completely. It's, some of the people that I've met over the last couple years are just, I just feel like a deep soul connection with these wonderful women that same thing, like they are just spreading their light and approaching life in a different way, It
takes a while to get there. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely. And, it's always an evolution, right? It's like always in process. And that's beautiful.
Absolutely.
We're always peeling back the layers.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's like this continual evolution and like blooming process.
Absolutely. So we talked about manifestation, Diane and I, on our last video about how we were a little discouraged despite all of our hard work and efforts and continuing to try and put forth this podcast with like yielding not the greatest of results, perhaps. And so we really focused more on our self-limiting beliefs and how that may have unconsciously been getting in the way. And then we took the YouTube challenge, like we say, woo, we took the YouTube challenge. And suddenly we noticed that we had reached our goal, within we gave ourselves 2 weeks, and within 3 or 4 days, we were at that goal. And so when we thought of talking about manifestation as a process, we thought no one better than you. So is there anything you'd like to share? Any insights you might want to give?
Sure. Well, first, I'm honored that you thought of me.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and I look a lot to nature, as Lao Tzu said, like as above, so below. So, that's even with astrology, what's happening in the stars reflects what's happening down here on Earth, as well as what's happening within each of us. So,
Mhm.
I look at the cycles of nature. So I do a lot of intention setting with the moon cycles. That's like my first step. I set intentions with the new moon. That's like the time to plant the seeds. And I do releasing with the full moon. That's like the time to release the blocks. So it's like I set the intention, I release the blocks. And I really believe that the rest is up to spirit, So I just keep with the intention and I keep taking my soul aligned action, but I let the results up to spirit. And that I think is the key.
When the
Because
divine leads, I follow.
exactly, it's like that co creation with the universe, with the divine. Because what I find, most of the people I work with, when they're trying to control the outcome, that's what's blocking it from coming in.
Yeah.
So it's that surrender piece is really important. Whenever things have manifested in my life, they've always been so surprising, miraculous, and it's something that I couldn't have come up with that on my own. But the way it comes together when spirit takes charge is magical.
And usually far greater and
Yes,
more powerful and more wonderful than anything we would design.
exactly. Exactly. Because from our perspective, we're thinking in a limited way, and spirit doesn't need to think like that. And so when we open up, when we surrender, it lets spirit do the heavy lifting and it lets spirit surprise us. And that's when things really happen.
And I think, and I wanted to see if you agree, and I know I just learned that from you just over the past week or two about how with the new moon you
Mhm.
manifest, and then with the I'm going blank now, the full
With the
moon you
full moon.
release.
Yeah.
I didn't know the difference. I know the difference between the two moons, not the difference between the manifestation and releasing between the two.
Yeah.
So now the important thing is that it doesn't always happen in 1 month, as we know. It can take,
Yeah.
on spirit's terms, it can take a
Exactly.
while.
It can take a while, it can be really quick, and it's still about that cycle. And this is what I love about astrology is there's different cycles that are acting at the same time. Right? We have the sun that goes around and it takes a year. And then we have the moon that goes through its cycle and it takes about 28 days. And each planet has its own different cycle. And so, we just our job again is not to figure out how long it's going to be, but just to put one step in front of the other, one day at a time, do the aligned action. And sometimes it's like we've already met our goal and we just didn't even realize, like you said,
Yeah.
and that's beautiful, right?
And so for people who maybe don't understand astrology or understand, well, why this moon cycle or that moon cycle, it really is about cooperating with the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that pretty much what you're saying? Like the
Yeah,
energy that's happening around us allows things to manifest or works with us in our manifestation or
completely. I think, our job is to have the vision, right? We have the idea. That's the intention. It's just a fancy word for like, there's something I want. That's the idea. That's the vision. And I believe that that's our job because we have free will and choice. Like we've been given free will and choice. So we get to choose and then we just take actions towards it. That's our job, right? We're the container for whatever we want to bring in, right? We're the vessel for whatever we want to receive. And so our job really is to just be there and receive it. yeah, we have to take action because, you know, that's how the divine masculine and feminine work together. There's the being, the container, that's the divine feminine. And then the divine masculine is the action to like work towards that, continuing to be that container for it. And then when it comes in, you know, and different things can happen in different timings, right?
And we talk about free will choice. I mean, to me, that is the most sacred thing in the world. But when we allow our soul to step more forward, in my opinion, it allows us to begin to really contemplate and dream bigger, think bigger.
Yeah, totally. Because my experience is that that part of ourself is more expansive. It's more whole. You know, it encompasses all of us, including our ego, including our shadow, all of us, right? And I don't believe that there's any part of us that's bad, right? It's all good. It's all a part of our beauty and our light. And so when we get in touch with that more whole version of ourself, which some people call higher self, or, you know, that soul and, you know, whatever, that spirit part of ourself, whatever people call it, it allows us to have this more expansive experience, and then this more expansive vision.
You know, I was just doing a chapter for this book, and it was talking about how, you know, you walk with spirit always, whether you're conscious of it or unconscious of it. And 10 years ago, I bought a book at Barnes and Nobles in like an outdoor bargain basement, like junk thing, you know, and it was a book on Reiki that I paid $3 for. Now, I've had this book in my possession for over 10 years before I even entertained the journey of Reiki or even picked it up to read it. Right. But like, what part of me said, oh, there's a book on Reiki, and I'm drawn to that for whatever reason.
Right.
Free will didn't read the book, but the soul kind of drove me toward that. And I think so many people, we encourage them to follow their passions. They get so worried about the money. For all of our listeners out there, if you're worried about the money or how you're going to create a life for yourself, if it's not a monetizing industry, you know, which ours wasn't for a very long time, right? But when you follow your soul's purpose and your passion, I think that's all about the manifesting, in my opinion. I mean, you're the expert. I do it in my quiet little ways.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and that's what I call alignment. You know, it's like that's that soul aligned action. It's not, I like how you said quiet, because it's not always a loud voice. It's sometimes these gentle, quiet nudges that can change your life, right?
Absolutely.
And it's powerful. And I totally agree. I think following those stirrings of the heart, the passions, the desires, to be happy, to have joy, things open up, you know, things, it's like, that's where I call, like, the universe starts doing the heavy lifting. When I told you that, you know, before we started recording, I just moved a year ago today. Well, it's October 7th. We talked about moving from Portland at the end of July is when we had the first discussion of, I think we should look at selling our house. And we were moved in by October 7th.
Wow.
So we moved.
Fabulous.
You know, yeah, our family of 5, you know, we had a house of 16 years that we cleared and sold and everything. We had our 3 pets, like we moved, changed school systems, everything. And that was from idea to completion in like 10 weeks.
Oh my God.
And
did you sleep for like a month? I don't think I could.
No, there wasn't much sleep involved.
I mean,
even after it was all moving in. But,
yeah.
Yeah. But it was so fast because, and I found this, it's like when you line up and you just let things happen, things will just open up and happen.
Yeah. You just release it to the universe, to the spirit guides.
Yeah.
And then your shoulders just my shoulders just relax.
Yes, exactly.
It was funny because we review all of the comments or posts,
Yeah.
from people watching the channel. And this one gentleman wrote, "I don't understand what you mean. Do you and Diane sit howling at the moon?" Or like I think when people think of manifestation, they think it has to be like, witch's cauldron and like all kinds of elaborate things. And so I love what you're bringing to the table and explaining. It's really quite simple. It's a simple action.
It is quite simple. And I think the biggest thing is to, like you said, Diane, of like getting out of your own way. It's about just removing the things that are getting in your way. When you can just acknowledge what it is that you really want, you have to start thinking it's possible. We actually, so this is the funny thing, is we had talked about moving from 2008. Mm-hmm. So from 2008, we had talked, which of course that was when, the recession and all of the housing market was upside down. And I, at the time, couldn't even believe it would be possible. So we just ran into block after block after block. But over time, right, like I had done all this growth work. My husband had done all this growth work. So then when we came to it in the discussion, there was no barrier.
Beautiful.
Right.
Audrey Hepburn, who is one of my favorites. I have a lot of Audreys in my house. My favorite quote is when she says, "Nothing is impossible because even the word impossible says I'm possible."
Right.
And I wish for our viewers, for the people who are tuning in, and how blessed we are to have you here today. Really, you're an earth angel. Thank you.
Thank you.
To plant the seeds that anything really is possible without our limiting belief systems.
Yeah, exactly. We truly are only limited by our own imagination. Mm-hmm. And if you think of, imagination is limitless, right? All you have to do is be able to imagine it, right? So you literally, all you have to do is change your imagination.
And it's almost,
yeah,
it's like going back when we were kids. It's like being a kid again and putting that hat on.
Exactly.
And I know for me, I manifested things that I've wanted in life. For me, I've done a lot of journaling. It's like listing,
mm-hmm.
but really focused and thought and meditated
mm-hmm.
to get to what were those real items that I were manifesting.
And I love that you said that, because this is the other thing, is that people will tell you that there's like, oh, there's this one certain way, but there's no one way, right? It's like everybody can tap into their own way, right? And that's a beautiful part of it, is that you just have to listen to your own guidance inside.
May I ask a super personal question? When you begin to manifest, you don't have to answer. Is there a process that you go through, or is there a mindset that you find yourself in, or is it really varied depending on where you are or what's going on?
Yeah, I think, my personal, I'll tell you this, I'll tell you what my personal blocks are. So my blocks will be expectation, expecting how it comes in. So
you don't understand anything about that, Diane.
So that's one that I really have to set aside, so I will intentionally set that aside, surrender. When I come into that place, and this is more like if I intend to manifest something, like I want to just sit down and I want to bring something to me, I have to be really mindful, because that's when those blocks can come. I don't know if you've ever noticed that sometimes like things that don't matter too much, you can just like say it and boom, it's there. Like, to give you an example, the other day, it was like a couple months ago, I was trying to do some project of putting some shelf together, and I was like, I need a level. I wish I had a level. And my husband literally walked in the house and he was like, oh, I have this level for you. And I was like, did you hear me? And he's like, no, I didn't. I was like, I literally just asked for a level. And he's like,
Oh,
I just found this in the garage and thought, oh, I bet Rini would like a level for her toolbox. And I was like, great. Because there was no heaviness with it, right? It's just like, oh, I want that. And the universe just brought it to me. Because there's no block to it, right?
right.
When something's important, like say for my business or, something that's like a little bit more important, then that's when I find the blocks come up, right? Because it's like it's so important and you want it, and that wanting it can really start blocking it too. So that's that surrender part. And so you ask like what mindset. Surrender, I think for me, is one of my keys to manifestation. Of I have to let it go. I have to let the expectations go, let it all go. And when I do that, things really do come through for me.
House in Malibu, Diane.
Yes.
Come to me, the house in Malibu.
Yes,
exactly. And it doesn't have
exactly.
to be that elaborate, but like you said, something as simple as a level, and here comes your husband walking in the door.
Exactly.
I love
Totally.
that.
Yes.
I love that.
It's beautiful.
Well, you are such a pleasure, and we are so appreciative that you were able to join us today.
Can you share some of, share some of the services you have so
Yes,
everybody can hear? Because I know we've been working together now for a couple of months, and I actually decided to work with you off Katie's podcast. So I'd love everyone listening today to hear about all your lovely, lovely offerings.
And with permission, we can include a DM for people to be able to reach you or connect with you. If for those of you interested, we'll have her. Well, definitely. Diane will do it. I'm not the technical wizard here, but we'll have your contact information so that people can reach out to you.
Yes, I'll put that all in.
Yeah, perfect. And yeah, I do an astrology-based membership. I do astrology readings and channeled spirit readings, Voxer coaching, and I do my 3-month signature deep dive to really unlock your magical gifts and realize your dreams. So my thing is I love to work with people, very high touch, high support, nurturing energy. That's just my passion. And so if you are called to work with me, I would just please encourage you to reach out. I also have my Spellbound Masterclass available on my website. Just scroll to the bottom. It's free right now. It won't be for very long. So if you're at all interested, now is the time. It's really how to remove your blocks in your business if you're spellbound. It'll tell you all about what does that mean, being spellbound, how did it get there, and walk you through the steps of removing it. So check that out if you're interested. My website is riniheart.com. And I'm also on Linktree, so /Rini Heart, but you could check out the podcast notes for more.
Well, I'm certainly going to get in contact with you.
Awesome.
Fascinated. Yeah. I would love to hear more.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, she's just wonderful, wonderful to work with. And she's very, very, beyond warm. She's just wonderful. Helped me so much in the short time I've already worked with you. So thank you for spending your time to come on with us.
Yes, we are so appreciative. And again, we are 2 Italian women.
And the stories they tell.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.